Time.
You can. I mean, you
Yeah.
should lower the volume on your
My phone.
phone. Yeah. Twitch.tv/ behind that suit.
Got you.
Yeah. And that's where people's yeah.
That's where the homies is all hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh,
We are live on there. We're live
Hey,
everywhere. Yay.
saludos. Yay.
What's
Hello,
up,
everybody.
everybody?
Uh, I am Liddy Bro Flacko. This is my co-host, Holden Stefan Roy. Say hi, Holden.
Hi, Holden.
Yes, and this is the Perspectives podcast. And we are here with our guest, Blimes.
What's up,
We don't have
Blimes?
sound effects, but
We
This
could work on
meeting
that.
is being recorded.
hey, the feds is watching. Man, I
What's
can't
up,
even tell you
Blimes?
guys. Whoever's watching at home, like, I just want you to know, like, the reunion smiles on me and Flacco's face right now. Like,
super big.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to wipe it off. That's my brother from another right there, for real, for real. And
Yeah, I kept on telling them, like, on the Twitch before you come on, like, we're like listening to your music, and like there's just multiple times where I'm like, I'm not gonna like in this process of interviewing people. Oh my god, I'm doing this so out of place. Hold on, you know what? Let me start this off
You gotta let it
correctly,
be
right?
organic when it's organic.
Let me start the show off correctly, right? So like this show came about because in the middle of doing the Liddy Bros project with Jess, we worked with this engineer up in Montreal and Merker, the homie Merker from Merker Studios. And we did the project, and Merker's like kind of like he's from Montreal, but he might as well be from New York City, like with his attitude, right? Because like he works with a lot of artists, but like he does not promote their music, right? Like he does the typical New York thing where like if I don't promote any of y'all, then I don't have to promote any of y'all. So I'm not stuck like sharing music that I don't want to be sharing, you know? But then he shares our music, you know? So like that got Holden's attention, and Holden's like, what? Who's these guys? You know, that like clearly
Liddy
Merker
Bros.
worked with, you know,
I
the
mean, just
Liddy
gotta
Bros at
imagine
that,
you're
you
sitting
know?
there on Facebook and you see this Liddy Bros appear out of nowhere. You never heard of them before, and
Right.
then it's
And
Liddy, bro.
so yeah, and so he sees us, and like he does reviews online, right? And like he like gets a hold of the music, does a review, and then like wants to interview. And I'm like, yeah, let's do an interview. And then we do the interview, and I swear to God, I felt like I went to fucking therapy. Like I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This feels great. And I was like, why don't we do like a series together where like I bring typical New Yorker though, right? Like soon as like that happens, I'm like, what am I gonna do when I discover some dope shit? Put the homies on,
yeah,
right? So like I'm like, why don't we do a series together where like I bring people to the table and like you interview them, and we kind of do it together, you know. But like really, Holden's like good with these like questions that he has, right? But like when we're doing the thing beforehand, like in this process, I've like like these are all my friends, right? But like I feel like I'm meeting y'all for the first time, a lot of y'all, right? Over again because I'm learning things I never learned before. But with you, I actually feel like I know a lot about you. Like I know your life a lot. So like there's times that like before the interview, like when we're playing your music, I'm like, you know what? I could tell you the story behind this, but I'm just gonna let Blimes tell her own
Mm.
story instead of telling her story for her, right? And so
wow.
here we
I'm just
are.
listening.
And yes, it
I'm just
is
here
it
to
is
listen to
big
you guys.
smiles on our face because I love you and I miss you and you're my sister. And yeah, so big smiles on our face.
You know, it was actually to the point where one of the videos you sent me was unlisted, and I'm like, ooh, I could not have found this one on my own because the shit's unlisted. That's fucking litty. But first of
He
all, you're
told me the
extremely talented.
only person that'll get that pass ever, that I'll ever send an unlisted to ever.
Yo, I'm glad you said that track was lit. Honestly, your music is phenomenal. Your battle energy is phenomenal. Your energy is phenomenal. When you just you your presence. So it's a real pleasure to be able to talk to you, honestly, and get to meet Blimes. You know, just never met you before, but I did. You're one of the people who like I saw a snippet of one of the podcasty looking things you do. with Gabs, and I was like, this shit's hilarious. So like already when Flacco was like, we gonna do it this one, I'm like, oh, that's
Oh
cool.
wait, you're talking about the ASMR video that I had
Yeah, that shit was the
shared
funniest
before.
thing. It was
That shit was
hilarious.
hilarious. Nah, let's not even. Okay, so like, let's get to
No,
the
but
interview so we can try
let's
to
do it.
get
But
to all the awesome things,
yeah,
right?
we'll
So
try to.
Holden has a first question,
I
right?
do have a
But
first
like,
question.
I'm gonna
Put your
start with
hands
a
up.
first question, but your hands up. So your hands first.
I
Your
just
hand first.
I just want to make a little room to gracefully acknowledge and appreciate everything that Holden just said and that Dutch just said, and just say thank you guys for real. Like that means the world. Like when your peers who do what you love doing, who listen to music all fucking day, say that you're doing a good job, that means more than
Nah.
anybody walking.
Good is a little underselling my feeling here. Good is
Super,
not really where, dude.
super, super.
Like
Thank you.
Yeah,
you
you know
got
what it
like
is though.
exceptional. You're in that great range. Like to
Mhm.
get to great is not simple, but you're in that range of greatness.
That means the world. Thank you, Holden, and thank you, Dutch. I mean,
But
Yeah.
Flacco.
I do
No
have that
problem. It's
token.
okay. You could call me Dutch. Or it's not a problem. Most of the homies that come
we
through are all calling me Dutch in the middle of the interview. Like it's not
we
a
could
big deal.
probably one day just cut out a compilation of people saying, "I'm sorry, I meant to call you Flacko Touch," and that like, just a compilation of that. But
I'm throwing
I
those
do.
apologies away, and you can call me
Wait,
my life.
before Holden gets to his first question, I've
Ah,
been interrupting everyone interrupting him with my own preliminary first
that's a
question
good one.
that I think that it's important for the people to know. Why don't
It
you
is.
introduce yourself and tell people where you are from?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure to. My name is Blimes. My friends and family know me as Sam, and my the battle rap community knows me as Oh Blimey. And I'm from San Francisco, California. It's a completely different city now than it ever was before. So if you haven't visited in the last 15 years, then you have no idea where I'm from.
That's
And
amazing.
I'm tuning in live from Los Angeles today because that's where the money's at. So
Respect. So now, okay, I got my
Yeah.
token first question where it really is a good context setting question for this next question. It's a little bit of a story. And when it lands, you can kind of take it wherever you want to take it. But it starts with my girlfriend when she's washing the dishes and she's got her phone playing, and it's that Black Eyed Peas song. I got a
Got a
feeling.
feeling,
Ooh.
ooh,
And she's dancing and she's doing her
tonight's gonna
dishes.
be
And I'm
a
like
good night.
thinking about this song, right? Because like the song, it's not really a new song, but its purpose has changed. It's not. It's a chores music song. It's an exercise music song. It gets like people up to get shit done. But if we think about this song, maybe 10 years ago when it dropped or whenever, this shit was the hottest stuff in the clubs, and people was real drunk dancing in circles all over Montreal to this shit. Like, and it was just all there, and you were having fun, and it was like, and but then 10 years goes by, it's the very same song and even the very same people, and everything around the song has completely changed into being more, you're going to the gym, put that on because it's fun music, and it reminds you of those days almost. And it got me thinking about music and it's how it changes over time and stuff. And you can take all these club bangers like the Cardi B's and whatnot and just picture all the people watching their parents do chores to Cardi B down the line in the future, because that's exactly where this music is headed. And I've had it confirmed to me that Up song is current dishes music to some moms out there right now. So it's just kind of how it is when people change. And then that got me thinking about our own musical journeys, right? Because there are journeys. It's everything's so in flux and evolving. And often when we had the conversations and we watched the interviews and stuff, everybody's starting in like this adolescent era where we become more identity driven and start choosing the music that inspires us, this and that. But that's not really where our musical journeys start in any meaningful way. It really starts as early as we can remember. Hell, sometimes people go as far back as the womb, and it's the music and the environments that was surrounding you as you were growing up. Like when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I can remember my dad had these gray boxes, the amps and the radio and the tape decks, and they were all attached to each other and these speakers everywhere. And he would play the Led Zeppelins and the 90s dance music at night. And at Christmas, we would have this Christmas music techno remix album that got played. I know my mom liked musicals and disco, but I don't remember it as much. Anyway, all this stuff was like this like landscape of musical foundational shit that I grew up with before I even got to my own tastes. So I was hoping you could take us back to being the youngest Blimes that you could remember and walk us through a little bit about what it sounded like growing up for you. But then keep in mind that none of us are from San Francisco, and as you said, it no longer exists. I'm from Montreal, even completely different country. So like the more detail you can give, the better. Like how your parents copped the music, all of that shit would be super dope.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I also just love what you said about identity driven, this age where we become identity driven, and what a big change that's made unless we were so established and rooted in our identity as a kid. And a lot of us weren't given like the liberty to be. So I just want to start by like saying so much love to my parents for like really giving me the liberty to be strong identified youth, like just hella weirdo kid, hella gay, hella musical, just hella artistic, and like encouraging that, because I know that that's not always a luxury that some people have. And so it takes a lot longer to figure out who they are. But I definitely have become, have found a lot more of my identity later in life. But I just thought that was so beautiful the way that you posed that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that question.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool. That's a cool
yeah,
observation.
I I grew up in San Francisco, California. It's 7 miles by 7 miles, so it's a big city in a little city, metropolitan city. We had, um, the Summer of Love in 1969. We are the home of the hippies. We are the home to so many immigrant and migrant families. We are the home to so many artists who flocked to San Francisco in the poets, writers in the beatnik era, 60s, 70s, musicians, artists, culture. Like it was culture rich, and it was compounded into the 7 by 7 square. So it was just everybody living with each other, on top of each other. I grew up in public school. My dad played bass, still plays bass to this day, in a rhythm and blues band called Tommy Castro and the Painkillers. When I was, they built a name for themselves in the 90s, a really, really strong name for themselves. They still tour the world to this day. They're about to go back on tour after COVID, and I'm so happy for my pops, because seeing him in COVID is like a fish out of water. Somebody who's been touring for 30 years of his life having to sit down and sit still is crazy.
That's
Um,
dope that you just said that too, because we actually I was touching on the signed artists and how long they can sit down for in this time, right? Versus like the indie artists that kind of like live out on the road, and how they're gonna have to be the ones to get the first bumps and bruises by maybe going out on tour, and like upsetting fans who maybe feel like nobody should be touring yet, you
absolutely,
know?
absolutely.
But go
But
ahead, I'm sorry.
no, you're good. It's such a good point to bring up, but it's so dire that we don't have the privilege of sitting back and waiting for things to get better, or waiting for things to get safer, because so much of our income relies on this. Yes, we've had to pivot. Yes, we've had to, figure out other lanes and step into other lanes. And thank God I've been able to do that, and thank God that there's more and more access to, unemployment options and shit like that. But um, all that to say, my dad's been playing music my entire life. Like they told me that I was 2, and they put me behind the drum set on my Uncle Walt, and they had this song, and I literally sat behind the drum set and recited their lyrics. I'm the big bad boss with the real hot sauce at 2 years old, and I was like, yo, that's a bar. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for giving me that bar, like right early on. And yeah, I mean, my mom's a makeup artist, and my dad is a musician, and I just watched them work paycheck to paycheck, tour to tour, show to show. My dad was a mason. He did masonry with his hands, so he worked with his hands in the day, and then played the bass at the night. At night, dude got carpal tunnel, had to have surgery, like still
You know
doing it to
what?
this day.
That's a legit thing. I just finished watching like I work with my hands, right? I'm a stagehand now. Like now it's been 6 years of 7 years of being a stagehand, not just working in labor,
Yeah.
right? And like I was just watching, I forgot the name of the movie, but the woman who played Lois Lane in the Superman movies recently, she's in it, and she's like, it's some house thing, and there's an artist living downstairs, and she's like, I thought you were an artist, because he was asking for like a staple gun or something. She's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'm an artist. So I also work with my hands because I'm an artist. Like there is no other option for us to do like this is what we have to do. We got to work with our hands.
Yeah.
So your dad was a typical, real typical artist, but like echeloned up, right? Because not all of us get to be masons. Like masons work with ironwork and with more like precise stuff, So that's crazy. That's dope.
Yeah. And he taught me how to fucking go get it, like there's a song where I say like, how to really shine bright when the lights don't switch, how to hold my head high when the likes don't click, like be a survivalist from the jungle where the pythons live, like
Mm.
you just go get it. Like if the music isn't making money, you got to make the money and come back to the music. And so I learned that real early on. And I know that the original question was about San Francisco. So
Yo,
my
you just
parents,
said something huge there that a lot of people need to hear. I gotta repeat that. If the music ain't making the money, you gotta go make that money, then go back to the music, because that's like
Yeah.
it. That means that you never give up the dream, but you're a
Nope.
realist.
Yeah.
Yo, that is in like the shortest amount of time, like fucking hard facts that a lot of people need to hear.
Big facts. My mom always used to tell me, you could do whatever you want. I don't care what you do as long as you make money to pay the bills. Like
right,
you can if you can be a rapper, you could be an actor, you could be a comedian, but if none of those things are paying the bills, you better go out there and do something to pay the bills, and then do that on the side
right,
because you need to pay the bills.
right. I mean,
So
straight up, I'm being 100% transparent with you when I say Blimes and Gab, like we got a deal for the Blimes and Gab album, and that was amazing. And now it comes time to go back to our solos, and there's no deal for the solos, and it costs tens of thousands of
Right.
dollars to make a fucking album. So I was about to go back to the drawing board when I got this commercial that, I just did a voiceover for this bank commercial, and that's gonna pay for the initial stages of my album. Thank God. But like, it's not above me.
Thank God.
It's not above
Yeah.
me to hit the young bus girl shift again like I used to. It's not above me to hop in the whip and drive the lift like I used to.
Yeah.
Because I care so much about this music, because I don't want to half-ass this music, because to me, like quality is important and quality costs money, and paying our peers who do what we do, their rate is important. And I used to like, when we're all coming up together and we used to use each other to build our skills and work together on the low and like give each other deals and shit, or, work with each other for exposure and shit. Like that was all gravy, but I'm at a level now where I can't do that. I'm not walking backwards. I'm going to pay everybody that I'm working with their rate and a fair rate. And that means I got to fucking break bread. And that means I got to work hard. Or if you're a believer of abundance, if you're a believer of, you know, the idea that like there is enough in the world and like money can come, easily enough if you believe it, and if you like unblock yourself from this idea that it's really hard to achieve, then it might start flowing in without having to bust your ass.
Yeah.
However, I will say in the same coin that I'm going, oh my God, that money came in right at the right time. Oh my God, did I manifest this shit? However, when I say something like that, what I'm not giving credit to is the 15, 20 years that I busted my ass in this industry to be given that radio commercial. So,
facts.
That's why it really happens.
right,
Yo,
It's the ass busting,
Blimes, you
right,
the
fucking got
relationship building.
energy. Your, your energy is ridiculously powerful in a
mhm,
great way.
Work.
So
It
I
oozes.
so like you basically grew up with a lot of musical influence in your life.
yeah,
When did you decide to start being more like a musical person yourself?
for sure. And this is, you know, this is actually going to transition really nicely out of the San Francisco question, which I didn't get to give enough credit to. Growing up in the city of San Francisco is just beautifully rich in culture, beautifully rich. And like I grew up in public school. I grew up in a predominantly Chinese and Vietnamese neighborhood. I grew up, you know, smelling amazing food the moment you walk out of your house, you know, dapping it up with the Muslim dude at the corner store, like just literally surrounded and held in culture. So when I left San Francisco, it was a big culture shock that other cities were hella segregated because we were so close. However, I've learned in older age that my proximity to people of different cultures doesn't necessarily make me, you know, I have to keep doing the work to make sure that I'm always being inclusive, to make sure that I'm always uprooting white supremacy in all facets, because still at the end of the day, I am a product of white parents who are a product of white parents who are a product of white parents, you know, pretty far back. You know, we all come from brown people back in the day, but you know, those things are so ingrained that just growing up in proximity to people of color doesn't make me, you know, always the most, you know, aware. I have to stay in the work. Going on to the musical side of shit, I started realizing that I wanted to make music very early, very early. I was always hitting the pillows with the drumsticks in my parents' apartment. And my dad my dad went on tour with BB King and Buddy Guy
Wow.
when I was probably 10 years old. And the leader of my dad's band gifted me a Fender Squire guitar at that show that they played. They played at the Mountain View Shoreline Amphitheater, which amazingly I got to go back and battle at the Shoreline Amphitheater for Rock the Bells years later. So to get to play some of the venues my dad has played is like, whoo, that shit
Yeah,
is
that's dope. Yeah, nah, that's gotta feel dope.
insane. But
Like where you're literally like walking in your dad's footsteps. You know, like that's so dope.
and my sister is in the beauty field too, so it's tight to see her, you know, follow after my mom and me take after
Oh,
her. Yeah,
word. That's so
and
That's so
dope.
cool.
You
it's a
guys
dope.
literally split under
Yeah,
your parents. Like, all right, I'll follow mom. I'll follow dad.
right, which is a dope gift to give back to them for like putting
Beautiful.
up with us all those years, because I'm sure, you know, although like neither of them have like outright said it's a dream that you're following my dream, I'm sure it feels really special to them. So it's a dope gift to give back to them. And yeah, my dad and Tommy Castro gave me a Fender Squire at the show that they played at Mountain View with BB King, and I got to go backstage. And I waited in this line to meet BB and to get him to sign my guitar. And I get backstage, and they go, oh, you can't have him sign that guitar. Sorry, he has a deal with Gibson. He won't sign it. And he
Oh,
goes, you know what? Everybody get out of here. Photographers, get out of here. All right, young lady, you come on up here and bring me that guitar.
wow.
He
That's
signed my
so dope. You know, that's big. You know,
huge,
like to
huge.
empty a room,
Sorry, Gibson.
and be like, yo, because he also had to empty the room because he's smart enough to have emptied the room. Like, yo, get out because you can't trust reporters with
Right,
cameras. You
right,
can't. Like, their job is to take the picture. So it's
right.
like, get out and you can't take the picture now. And it won't fuck up my deal. And this little girl can get like her like super fantasy right now. That's
Absolutely.
dope. That's
Watching
super dope
him,
of him.
watching him play on stage and watching Buddy Guy play on stage, and BB King sat in a chair and he was, you know, old as hell, playing music still in front of a crowd of thousands of people, still playing music, doing it nightly. And I remember watching him and being 10 years old and being like, this is historic. Like, I am watching history in front of me right now. And I want to tell stories through music to as many people as I can for the rest of my life. And I went home and I started writing songs and playing the guitar
Wow.
because I had these heavy ass emotions. I was different. Like I knew that I was different. And maybe that's because I was queer. Maybe that's because I was heavier. Maybe that's because I dressed like a tomboy. Maybe that's because I grew up around not a lot of white folks. Like I just knew that I was different. And to deal with those feelings and to deal with those emotions of not fitting in, I didn't have therapy. I wrote music. And so that was
That,
probably,
that's therapy.
yeah, it was,
Technically speaking, music
I'm
is
gonna have
therapy,
to
right?
agree with
Because
Flacco on that, but I get
like
what you mean.
as artists know, like that is our therapy, you know? Like I'm pretty sure that to this day, if you don't go to therapy, and even if you do go to therapy, right? When you don't get to go, the therapy is the music, you know? And the making the music is therapeutic, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find every artist says that, regardless, even beyond music. Like the painters will say that. I know coders who feel that way about like coding because it's really
Yeah.
language driven and it's really, in a sense, like an artistic endeavor. If you can get past what it is at a top level, it's just dudes or like people writing, just people
absolutely
writing in code.
Yeah.
honored.
um,
So
that's still
extremely dope to like think about every avenue of life being a creative avenue and approaching it from a you know, approaching it from a creative approach. It's like we're all artists. We're all artists, and it is therapy to all of our inner children who started making art at a young age and then cut themselves off from making the art because life gets too busy, life gets too lifey, life will just life the shit out of you, right?
You
So
know?
we really got to embrace that, and you really like you can. There is time for it. There is space for it. There is money for it. Don't go out. Don't go out and eat at the end of the week. You know, save that $30 and buy yourself a new notebook and start journaling. You know, save that $30 and go take a class, like a drop-in class, and watch your life change. Watch the therapeutic nature of like this art shit really, really take hold. Um, all that to be said, I get blocked too. So I'm not out here trying to preach to anybody. I'm just saying like it's
but you
touched my life. And
solutioning.
I hope it touches yours. Really, really long story short, I started playing guitar and writing songs at fourth grade, fifth grade level, and then battle rapping in middle school. I started writing poetry, and then I saw kids on the schoolyard battle rapping at lunch, and I was like, I write poetry, and that rhymes. I bet you I could battle. And I jumped in the circle one day, freestyled, and murked. And everybody was like, okay, white girl, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Where the hell did this come from? And you know, from there on, I just started rapping. And I like to sing, I like to play guitar, I like to play music, but it just happened to be that my skill was more honed towards rapping and lyricism. And so become a naturally better rapper than I was a singer. I'm about to take some vocal lessons though, so watch out, pop
So
charts.
hold on. So
Yeah.
real quick, so you in junior high school is when you started writing poetry and then battling, or did you start writing poetry before junior high, middle school? Sorry.
No, I started writing poetry. I would say I learned the art of poetry in elementary school,
Uh-huh.
but
Okay.
we learned it growing up in San Francisco. I mean, and I'm sure everybody learns poetry to an extent, but damn, there was an emphasis on the arts, and I am so grateful.
And do you want to shout out those schools?
Hell
Like,
yeah.
yo,
Hell yeah.
word, what elementary school is this? What middle school is this?
I went to New Traditions Elementary School. Norma Peterson had us doing poetry in kindergarten. Baba Wayne had us doing African drumming in first grade. Like all of it was so cracking.
What up? Do schools in New York not do poetry in elementary?
No, yeah. Come on, think about it. We just finished having. What happens
Yeah,
to you,
no.
Holden? Do you catch
No, I mean,
amnesia?
because like you
Fendi
asked
was
the
just here
question,
last
and I'm
week
like, wait
talking
a
about
second. I'm
doing
like, I did
poetry.
poetry, and I'm like, I thought that everyone did poetry. Like, I was like,
No, yeah. I'm asking leading questions so that she can. What's wrong with you?
There was such a strong emphasis.
Acting brand new.
There was
Acting brand new up in here, ho ho.
That it made such a difference. Like it was very much celebrated, very much. And not only that, but like the sources that we learned from were so diverse that it was just, oh God, so beautiful, so celebrated, like to be artistic and to be different. And I'm alive today because of that. You know, if I had grown up somewhere else, I don't know that I would have survived
Big
being who I am. Yeah, shouts out to New Traditions Elementary School. Shouts out to Roosevelt Middle School, the big brick building on Arguello and Geary in San Francisco. It looked like a prison. That's where I started battling when I was.
Bang, bang. gang, gang.
11, 12.
They're gonna. You should take this out and send it to anybody that you're still cool with from back then. Be like, bang bang, junior high school gang.
So
I'm
All right,
I'm
so
reading right now. So I just found out like all my old ass notebooks and all my old ass like literally like me like mom's yelling at me to eat my dinner while I'm actually having fun with my little sister. Like all the old bars, like it's ridiculous. But yeah,
I have that saved somewhere. I actually have one book of like high school for me, but like still like it's like whoa.
we need the mixtape. Release it. We need the mixtape.
No.
All right, Holden. Thank you for being patient with my very long-winded stories. I
No,
appreciate
no,
it.
believe it or not, this is the show. It's
Yeah,
you're just making it like I'm like, wow, I'm not even having to try. Blimes is just doing the thing. You're just running it. And I'm like, this is
She's a
amazing.
professional.
It's perfect.
Professional.
Sometimes it's like you gotta try and re-ask the same shit 6 times, and you're just like feeding us stories for days. I'm like, this is
And
beautiful.
she's staying on the same linear thought too. Like it's not
Yo,
like
it's
she's letting it go and
perfect.
forgetting it. I forget them. Like by the time I end up like in my segues, when I try to like get back to like my initial point, I'm like, wait, where was
Nah, and you're just following it. You're like returning to it. Like you're like, but honestly, we also let the tangents go because it's also the show. It's all of this is the show.
And so
But,
you started battling though. She
my
got to battling Blimey.
Yeah.
She got to battling Blimey. And that's like super important. Like I love that you embrace it too. Like, you know.
So
by the way, we would have watched one of your battles but like the pre-show, but like Holden was like, I don't know if they're like, you know, if we can air that on Twitch, you know, we don't want to get flagged. And I'm like, you know, I don't know if it's like, you know, I was like, you know, it's like, you know, no big deal, you know, it's 2 women battling, and he's like, you know, I think that it's blinding. I think that
I watched you against Dirtbag Dan, and I was like, he did not like that the crowd was in your favor, and he starts making the snide little comments, and you're like, bro, I don't have time for this shit, and you just fucking wreck him harder, and then all the judges gave it to him, and I'm like, whatever, but like, yo, you could just see like it was such a, she's hard and she's gonna say anything. I can't be like, we didn't vet these battles to make sure we didn't go too far. She'll say anything.
Dude, that was one of the battles that turned me off from battling actually. And because I just couldn't stand that Dirt was talking through my rounds and like yelling to the crowd through my rounds. And I was like, I don't want to play this sport. This isn't fun. This isn't fun anymore if we're not treating each other with respect and camaraderie. That was one of the ones that I was like, nah, I'm cool. However, it was dope as shit to play at Rock the Bells.
Yeah. I was sitting there with like, wow, that's like fucking like rock the bells, and you're there fucking crushing. In my opinion.
I was a fucking noob. Like I was a noob. You know, these
dudes
were fucking
was that when Grind Time had the year that we had a stage in the middle of on, you know what, I don't remember us even doing battles on the East in New York City. Like I think that did we or did we not? Did you guys come and do them here? No, right?
I did.
Or you did?
They booked different people for the different cities, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
At the West Coast.
So let's go back though and like kind of move into it, right? Because if that's what made you lose interest in battle rap, how did you go from like this? Okay, so you're at high school, you're into school, you're doing your lunch battles and shits. Are you also doing song recordings at this time, or are you just focusing on the battles?
Absolutely, yeah. I was definitely recording songs. I was like staying up all night recording on the home computer on like GarageBand, Fruity Loops, whatever we had at the time. Like just learning how to engineer myself and picking beats off like SoundClick, Johnny Giuliani, like, you know, all the like, you know, beats and recording. And yeah, I mean, battle rapping for me, I stopped in high school and just focused on making music because that was my first love, was like writing a song was my first love. And I was like, okay, battling is tight. It's just a vehicle though to get my voice heard. It's just a vehicle to get my name out there.
So you did all of those battles in high school?
No. No, so
Okay.
so the bigger battles were much later. And
Okay.
I stopped battling for like all of high school and into college. I took some community college in many different cities. I was a mover arounder, and I took community college courses in many different cities. For a point of time, I was in this beach town called Santa Cruz, California. My phone's vibrating over there. I forgot to turn that shit on silent.
It's all good.
I was living in this beach city in Santa Cruz, California, and I was going to school out there. And I was at a party, and I was drunk, and there was like a freestyle cipher circle. And I remember rapping and spitting something crazy. And this kid comes up to me, and he's like, "Yo, do you battle?" And I was like, "I haven't battled in 7 years or whatever, since junior high. I don't know if I battle anymore. Why? What's up?" And he's like, "Okay, my name is Illusion Z, and I am a battle rapper, and I do this shit online. There's millions of people watching. There's a whole online community of people that watch battles, and I think you
Illusion Z. I had bars for Illusion Z, by the way. Like, what?
I'm pretty sure I heard him at one point in all of our late.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
pretty
Yeah.
sure he did him to me. And I didn't know who he was, but I went online and I saw his battle versus Dumbfounded, and I was like, "What is this? This shit is so sick!" Mind blown. And I was like, "People watch battles online? Hi, this is so fuego." And so he essentially like was my like, kind of like my master, like my guru. Like he taught me, like my sensei, like he walked me through how to battle, how to write bars, how to structure for a battle, what to focus on, and set up a battle for me in my apartment at Santa Cruz. And I had no idea how big the online community really was. And I didn't know there was message boards and chat rooms, and I didn't know that there was like a whole community of fans that were online. And he uploaded this battle, and there were essentially a handful of women battle rapping, very minimal amount, very, very minimal amount of women battle rapping.
Yeah,
So
there was.
when the message boards saw this battle, me battling a dude in my living room, they were like, "Who is this girl?" And that provided me the opportunity to get into grind time. And then I was able to, basically start battling. The grind time events had me out in New York a few times where I met Dutch and so many others of the community. I went out and battled in Brooklyn for March Madness, and that's probably one of the that you saw with Coco McPuffington. And Holden, you mentioned that like it got bad, like it's rough, it's serious, it's intense, anything goes, say anything. And like that's the era that I was in, was like shock value. You say anything.
I remember that era.
You say anything you can to get on this person's helmet. Like you need to be sitting perched atop of their helmet and by way of the most vicious shit you can possibly say. We didn't have PC culture. I was listening to Eminem say, "I'll stab you in the head, whether you were fag, a les, a transvest," like all, like I just was like, "Yo, like you, like you're badass. Like you just say anything you want." Now, would I say that shit? Fuck no, absolutely not. I'm grateful.
Nah, I think many of
totally
us
like
wouldn't
get it, right?
And
like,
and when you look at the way that it is now, I think a lot. We were just talking about that. We had Fendi on last week, and Fendi's active, now, and like her battles, like it's not like that. Neither from like the man. Like
the
she
Chilla
battles
Jones
a lot of guys,
battles, and like when I listen to this stuff, like I got the URL app and I check a couple, like all of this I can play because they basically dropped most of the LGBTQ stuff out, and they're still got to work on the R word. But like if they got rid of that, it kind of forced a lot of different creativity, but it also made it like you can swear and say a lot of vile shit. It's just get rid of the certain trigger words that are
the hate speech.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But it was also the stuff that like back then, like I said, I grew up like I'm like 33, right? So like all that shock value shit, that's my like 2008 YouTube life. So like I totally get the culture. I was watching a lot of vile shit back then by today's standards.
Which, by the way, we should preface this, and so like preface. I don't know. Preface. we should preface this with like Holden is like new to battle rap, sis. Like he doesn't,
Very
he
new
was,
to
he's
battle
not
rap.
even, he
Hold on,
got
let
into
me
battle
break this
rap
one. Let me
because
break
of,
this one
go
down.
ahead.
Let me
Yeah,
grab this
you
one.
get,
So I'm sitting there because you can't tell it the same way. I'm sitting there and I meet Flacco in what, November? We're talking November of 2020 in the middle and my Twitch shit and start doing interviews and it's like overwhelmingly big in my life. And I'm like, wow, this is working. Holy shit. And then he goes, you're going to interview this Iron Solomon guy. I'm like, who the fuck is Iron Solomon? I swear that was my reaction. And then all of a sudden people start tripping all over the fucking Facebook. I'm like, oh fuck, people know what an Iron Solomon is. So I now have to like fucking go research and I'm watching shit and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who the people, I kind of know a few names here and there.
Yeah, nah.
But
When you
I'm
first
like,
came back to me with it, you were like, you were just, you were taken aback. You were like,
I was like,
he definitely was not into battle rap either.
mm.
Like soon as
Well, it's 'cause
soon as he watched a few of them, he like came back with the like very like, oh, I don't know, like these guys seem angry. That's what it was. We interviewed Bones
angry.
Brigante and he watched Uncasa versus Bones Brigante. And Uncasa was loud and angry
I'm
and
like,
really didn't have much
I couldn't
bars,
stand
you
on
know?
the stage. And yo,
So
I watched even Disaster. That guy just, like, Disaster got in my face and practically kissed me. I would be fucking freaked out a little bit. Like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with like
yeah, no.
that level of the theatrics and all the touching and shit. Like, it's not like, yo, but I mean, then you start watching it more and you realize like, no, it's way doper than you think. Like you just get into it
Yeah,
more.
nah, he's
But like
into it now.
at
He's into it
first, it's
now.
fucking overwhelming.
But he's new to this.
And
The-
it's for me, it's an act. You know, I mean, shit was way more gangster back then, and so like I had to channel something in myself, and I had to, you know, I had to grow up where I grew up and be around what I was around to be able to face somebody like that, to be able to stand with somebody face to face and be like, I'm gonna say some vile shit. If they're gonna say some vile shit, and it's all gonna be gravy. I pray to God, it's all gonna be gravy. But it's you have to become a character. You have to become a caricature of yourself, bigger, louder, more vicious, stereotype, like playing into the stereotypes, like just really, really, and for me, that wasn't genuine. I really had to play a role. Like I'm not, you know, I've fought and stuff in my day, and you know, I'll scratch somebody if they get really, really disrespectful, and need to be put in their place. But I'm not big on perpetuating stereotypes on a platform that reaches millions of people, which is one of the other reasons why I started to fall out of love with the sport too, was just because I'm from San Francisco, like raised on unity and community and like really embracing each other for our differences and celebrating everybody for who they are. So it was not aligned with who I am as a person, and I had to act to play that role. And I was like, look, I want to go back to what feels genuine to me, and that's writing about my real life emotions and my real life. All that to say, it sharpened the fuck out of my pen. I can write songs for anybody because I know how to act with a pen, you know, like I can get on a stage and not feel nervous, because nothing is as scary as getting on a stage next to Coco McPuffington and saying the bars that I said in the middle of Brooklyn where I don't know fucking anybody, and being like, I'm either going to be carried out of here in a body bag or on people's shoulders. I don't know which way it's going to go. Those skills cemented my abilities that I have to be a performer today. And I think, you know, I think I paid my dues battle rapping. Like, I think that's how, you know, if you're listening at home, you don't know who I am. I have tracks with Method Man. He's like an uncle to me now. And I found out later in life that he's a huge fan of my battle raps. And like, by being that person, by showing that I can do that and I can walk into those scenarios and not be, you know, irked on the outside. Ooh, I was shaking inside, but not be irked on the outside, that I could hold my own, you know, was a big caveat, a big notch in my belt for being able to hold my own in any arena. And I think really cemented respect from some of the greats that I look up to for being able to be that person. I don't think if I would have battle rapped, sorry. I don't think now's when my ADHD medication starts wearing off. You're not going to get the clear, concise consciousness anymore. So we might take a left now, but I what I was saying was that I don't think that I think if I didn't battle rap, I would not have gained a fraction of the respect that I have from the people that I respect in this industry. So it all was meant to be. It was a part of my path, and it was a 100% necessary part of my path. I didn't know that when I quit. I didn't know that when I quit. What up, DJ Cabin? Peace, peace. I didn't know that when I quit. And I quit with a bad taste in my mouth. And I hadn't realized the huge role that it was yet to play in my life. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, by the way though, like it's not like you don't gotta feel no, like shame. You didn't run away, like I think that it was in transitional stages and going into different directions, and grind time was ending. And I don't think that necessarily Queen of the Ring was in a position to maybe pay you what you deserved at the time necessarily, and that's okay too, like that. It's like you did what you did, and like it's not like you like have ever shunned battle rap, or like not talk, tell people I don't want to talk about that, like, oh no, we don't. Nah, you don't hide from it. So that's it. Like the more success that you find as an artist is the more light that you like. It's like an addition, same as all the people that like go on Wild 'N Out, or like the people that do, something else from battle rap. Like everybody adds and they bring back, like, because then your fans, there's gonna be a fan that's gonna be so hardcore that they're gonna go into Blime's past and be like, what is this? And they're gonna watch it, and then they're gonna like turn into Holden eventually, right? Where they're just like, I actually like this, I get this now, and they're gonna be into it, and then they're gonna form their own
No, your shit
love
aged
of
well though.
cool, like.
Can I
Yeah,
just
you
say
did.
that though, quick? Your battles aged real well. Yeah, some of these battles don't age well.
I have a hard time watching them. I got to be honest with you. But I do every once in a while just to remind myself I am that bitch. But thank you, Holden. Flacko, when you said that you didn't shun battle rap at the time when I quit, I did. And that's why I changed my name to Blimes. Although, like, who was I kidding? How hard is Blimey to find from Blimes, right? But I changed my name to Blimes Brixton. I changed my name eventually just to Blimes, because I was like, I don't want people to see this. I don't want people to know me for this. I want to make music, and I don't want the stigma of being a battle rapper and saying the things that I've said on record, to follow me around. And so I started over. I started fresh. And what I didn't know about starting fresh is that it was really fucking hard to start fresh, because when I started making music and battling, algorithms didn't exist yet. You were what you showed, what you put on social media organically was viewed by your following. So I was able to gain a following, then quitting, starting over, changing my name. Now algorithms exist, and I have to fight that and understand how it works in order to become something new. And I was having a really hard time doing that, being a broke artist. And I was about to give up. I was about to give up. I was like, I'm not meant to do this. I'm not meant to, I don't like battle rapping. I'm not being seen and heard without a bag behind me. And I don't know how to get the bag yet. And I'm a white woman rapping. I'm a guest in the home of hip hop. Like, maybe this shit just isn't for me. Maybe I just need to call it quits. And that's when the email came in. Hey, like literally, I was so depressed. I was crying in my bed, couldn't get out of bed because I was like about to give up on my one true dream. And I got the email from Drop the Mic on TBS saying, hey, Method Man is a huge fan of your battles. We're doing this TV show called Drop the Mic, and he wants to meet you. We think you should come down and work on the show. And I crawled my ass out of bed. I called my mom. I couldn't even put on makeup that day. I called my mom. She's like, you better stop being a bitch and go meet Method Man. So I
did. Word.
Shout out to my mom.
Your mom with sound advice and shit. Like, shouts to mom.
Love you, mom.
With the sound advice.
Love you, mom. And I did, and I had no idea that he was going to say, hey, Blimey, not only do I love your battles and you're one of my favorite battle rappers to ever do it, but you can actually make good music. And I listened to your music, and he starts singing my song to me, Bass Face. And he's singing the lyrics. He's like, I've showed this to everybody. Not a lot of battlers can make good music, and you can. So let me know if you need anything. I got you. If you need a feature, I got you. If you need me to carry some merch to a show, if you need me to hype man, I got you. And I was like, Method fucking Man of the Wu-Tang Clan is telling my ass this. I'm not allowed to give up. This is where
Fact.
this is where that voice, this is where that voice of sabotage in my head dies. And I have to kill it multiple times a year, right? I still have to
it doesn't end. You don't it doesn't become like I conquered that monster and he goes away. It's more like the demon bear from the New Mutants movie, and it just keeps on coming back. It's just like a demon bear that's inside you. It's just like, right. He comes at you, and you gotta be like, stab, demon bear, go away. Fuck you, motherfucker. I'm better than you.
A big part of that is keeping an uplifting crew around you, like making sure that I maintain contact with the people that I know believe in me, like Meth, like Bahamut, like Gab, like our managers, like Dutch, who always celebrate and love me for who I am because he knows my story. And I, that changed my life. I got in the studio the next day. I wrote 3 songs. I sent them to Meth, and he was like, "You already know which one I'm picking." And I was like, "Yeah, I do," because we wrote that shit knowing that you would be on it. Me and my producers, Luku and Cam. Shouts out to Lou and Cam, amazing producer. Lou all day, Cambo Music. We got in and made 3 records the next day. I was like, I gotta strike this iron while the iron is hot. Sent it off to Meth. 3 weeks later, I had his vocals in my inbox, and not only was it a verse, but it was one of the cleanest verses I had heard ever. He didn't phone it in. He didn't half-ass it. Like, he gave me his all. And that taught me that humility is real, and humility exists no matter how big, no matter how famous you are. You still can make time to put on for those that you believe in. And when you do give back, you're building lifelong confidence and self-esteem. Like, we gain self-esteem by doing esteemable acts, and I believe that was a really humble, noble, esteemable act on his part, and that taught me that I am never going to be too big or too good to help somebody else out, ever. So I'm moved forever by his generosity of time and spirit.
Meth is the man.
Forever give that back.
That's like huge stills, because I'm sitting there going, how'd you get a Method Man feature? Sounds
right.
lit. He didn't phone it in. You're correct, because I put your album on, whichever one it was that it's on, and I'm just walking up the street, and then I'm like, is that fucking Method Man? Because I'm not looking at the track list, and I didn't know it was coming. I'm like, yo, that's ill. How do Flacco's friends know Method Man like that? That's fucking cool.
It's the most insane story that I never could have written ever for myself. And that's why I really like to believe that our minds aren't even capable of imagining the greatest version of what our life could be like. And sometimes we just have to have faith that even when shit's so fucking dark, and even when shit is so hard, that if we make it to the other side, the growth that comes from that pain is so beautiful. Like, so beautiful.
Yo, your words are like, you're like a motivational speaker.
Man, I've been through a lot of shit, and I've had to rationalize. I've had to find things outside of myself. I appreciate that. I've had to find things outside of myself to lean on in the hardest moments to make it through. And I just have this undying faith that, like, I don't know, if we reach for the tools, if we like take time to like sit with ourselves and sit with our shit, then like we can make it through anything. You can't press fast forward on the bullshit. You just have to go through it. There was like this book that I read as a kid. It was a bear hunt or something like that, and it was like, gonna go on a bear hunt, gotta catch a big one, like can't go around it, gotta go through it. And like my whole life I've just been like, can't go around it, gotta go through it. And there was a long time that I tried to go around it. Like, I drank so heavy, I used drugs, like I was trying to escape. I moved around constantly, pulled geographics all the time. But like now today, like it's just sitting through it and waiting for the miracle that's on the other side.
Yeah, that's
I'm blessed. I've been there for a lot of that journey.
I
Like
love
I'm
you.
like word. I'm like facts. Like I know you from, like when like the videos that you sent that I didn't actually show Holden, because I was like I didn't want to show those on live stream, but like the videos that I first was privy to when we got word about you, was like you in like your crib on your bed, I think, playing your guitar and like singing songs instead of just rapping. Like you had some songs where you was rapping, but like you were also flexing like your artistic ability. And like to
Mm.
see the growth from that young girl at home, like really like, you know, raw, no thing about nothing in the industry to now, like
No, it's
sis,
really
it's
like
amazing. It's amazing. It's truly seeing like a beautiful flower grow. It's truly seeing like a beautiful painting come to life. You know
Mm,
what I mean? Like it's that, and like wild like privilege to like be able to like see that journey.
love you. I appreciate
Love
you.
you.
And I just
I
want to
just
Hmm.
say real quick before we switch off this topic that I am as great. I am only as great as those around me. I am a reflection of my environment. Like that's it. That's it. Like I just got to grow up in one of the greatest musical eras of all time. And not only that, like just make friends, long lasting friends, and like look at the world around me. And I learned that from my environment. So I get to be here and speak on this because I hear other people tell their story, and I I just want to do the same. It's just be here, share the real life experiences, and do it with humility and like real life grace, and just like truly, honestly, just tell what it is, and not sugarcoat it, not puff my chest up about it. So I appreciate you guys giving me the space to do so.
Yeah,
it's our pleasure. I
absolutely.
mean, I look at it like this is a good way to spend time in general, talking to people and like hearing cool things. But like, I'm just really fascinated by longevity. How do you maintain in this world, like both as a person, but also in the music world and all of this? And then it's like, yo, I listened to your 2012 that Piff thing, like all the way everything, all the four. I listened to 4 of your projects,
Whoa.
and like there's this growth and consistency, but
Mhm.
it's not even like it wasn't like growth is a weird word for it, because that 2012 project holds up. It's not like it's lit. Like I was
You know
bumping
what I
it,
think it
and I'm
is?
like
I don't
like
think that
it's
it's
just
growth. I think
phases.
it's,
It's like just
yeah,
that's it. Like
exactly.
there's evolution is a better word for it.
Evolution.
And
Yes.
like, yo, then you got the next two, the ones on Spotify have story esque elements to it. Especially, I think the one with Gabs, or one of them felt like there was a whole plot line that played out, and it was just like so perfectly put together and shit. But then if you tie that back to your like 5 or 2 even banging on drums and shit, I mean, it makes a lot more sense to see this level of mastery come through with it. It's like your whole life has been this. But how do you go from then the drop the mic to like waking up in Paris or wherever it was you woke up? Like, what goes on in between there?
Yeah, absolutely. That I put out the record with Method Man, but all the while, like, it's all about planting seeds wherever you can. And so all the while, I never stopped and like just waited for shit to happen. It was like collabing with this person, collabing with that person, saying yes to this show, saying yes to that show, planting seeds and never knowing where they're going to grow, and knowing that a seed from 10 years ago could pop up right here, right? Because that's what happened with Meth. Was like, I planted the seeds in battle rap, and then 10 years later, Meth is like, oh, I listened to you, and then we do a record, and then it comes out, and then it gets 6 million views immediately on fucking YouTube when we drop the video. Like, you never know which seeds are gonna sprout, and how big those rose bushes are gonna be, right? So I did my homegirl, I did a rooftop cipher. The cipher effect. Back when ciphers were like super just starting to become a big deal. There was a Cypher Effect YouTube channel, and they put 8 MCs around a mic and got a beat, and a lot like Team Backpack, which is World Underground now, or some of the other ones, like the BET Cipher and shit like that. And the Cipher Effect had me with like 7 other LA girls, and I was new to LA, and I was stupid intimidated by rapping with all these LA chicks. They're all Latina women, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go on this thing. I'm from San Francisco. We're rival cities. I'm gonna be the only newbie. They all seem like they know each other. They all seem like homies. Who knows what this is gonna be like? And I was really afraid to do it, but I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. And I didn't know that seed planted would be one that sprouted later in Gavlin and I's friendship. So Gavlin is an MC from Los Angeles. She's Argentinian. She's super dope, super hip hop head. So hip hop minded. Like she's like, museum of hip hop facts up here. Boom bap. And she blew up shortly after that Cipher Effect, or right before, in Europe. And she got like something like 8 million views on a video overnight or something, and was touring Europe a lot. And she hit me and she was like, yo, I'm coming back from my European tour, and I want to do some shit with you. I feel like, she was like, you're actually one of the dopest MCs, you know, that's around, that's like accessible to me, and like I really want to do some shit with you. It was when Childish Gambino was first coming out with albums, and she was like, she sent me one, a Childish Gambino song. What is it, Molly on the Rider? Which song is that, when he says that? Fuck, I don't remember. One of his early bops.
And yeah, like, cul-de-sac or something.
Yeah, she was like,
I'm not a rapper.
Yeah, one of the early things that was like hella bars, hella witty,
one-liners. It felt like he took his stuff from his stage comedy stuff, right, and like turned it into his raps.
Yeah, like Little Wayne walked so Childish Gambino could run type shit, like all the punchlines, right? And Gavin's like, let's do something like this. So we got in the studio and we did this song called Ew, and it was just
that sounds a fucking bop.
Thank you. It was a trap banger, and it was ill, and we were like making fun of girls who just always are like ill and like girly. And anyways, Gavlin was touring Europe and was doing really well, and was like, look, sis, I want you to come on tour with me. And I was like, damn, that's amazing. I'd love to open up for you. She was like, Europe needs to hear you. And I was like, that's an incredible honor. I appreciate you so much. And she was like, no, you're not going to open up for me. You're going to co-headline. And I was like, why are people doing this? Like, why would she do this? And instead of continuing to ask those questions, I, visited my counsel, probably my mom, probably my other friends at the time. And they were like, Sam, accept the gifts that you're given. Like, accept the fucking gifts that you're given and go and do it. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. And so we went and we did like a 25 city European tour. And that was my first time overseas. And that was my first time, playing sold out shows and seeing her fan base eat it up and being like, damn, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to reach people all across the globe. I want to make people feel good for an entire night, into the next week, into the week after that. I don't specifically want to be the highlight of someone's month, week, or year, but I want the way that they feel when they're at my show, in my presence, to be the highlight of their month, week, year for the rest of my life. And shouts out to Gavlin, because that was such a selfless act. That was so dope of her to open that opportunity up for me. And just one of those other people that when they do something so goddamn nice and so generous with their time and energy and money even, that you're like, wow, I definitely have to carry the torch. I definitely have to pass this shit on. You have to reach your hand out to the next person. So Gavlin took me overseas to Europe. And then after my album came out in 2018 with Method Man on it, I booked my own tour in Europe, headlining tour, because there was interest, because more and more people had heard of me, and more people were bumping that track. But Gavlin definitely paved the way for me to be out there. And I appreciate her forever for that. So.
Yo, that's like another huge answer. I mean, it makes sense to me why people want to do things for you. I mean, I'm talking to you here, and it's like, yo, your energy is like next level. Like, there's not a lot of like kind hustlers, like to the level that you are. but like you're a hustler at a max with a heart of kindness, and that's like what? People act like that doesn't exist in the world if you really
You
like
know,
look
it
at
does.
social media and shit. But then it's like you said, everything's out there and whatnot, but you just exude it in a way that is like overwhelmingly like you just exude happiness.
Thank you. Thank you. It's taken a long time to get here.
Work.
Yeah, so what's it like touring in Europe?
So fun. I dream about it every day. I mean, um, it's so fun. Like Europeans are so hospitable to artists. I've traveled since then, like just as a on a vacation, and oh my god, the energy was so different. I only want to go back as an artist. But Europeans are so hospitable. What I really, really love the most is nightly dinner. Usually, often it's a custom out there to cook meals at the venue. So they have like a cook, which is like maybe like a 80-year-old grandma who's the cook, and she cooks at the venue. And there's quarters for the artists to stay at the venue because arts are so appreciated and celebrated out there. And then the whole crew, you go in, you do sound check, and then the whole crew stops and sits down and has a meal together. So you're getting to meet all of the people that you're
So
working
dope.
all night, and you're eating this homemade meal from the city, from the culture that you're in, from the city that you're in. And it is one of my favorite parts of touring. It's just being able to sit down and appreciate the time and space with the people that you're working with for the night. That just brings you back to a level of it kind of X's out that hierarchy. I mean, sure, I'm sure there's people that sit by themselves and don't want to talk to anybody else, but like for me, it just brought me back down to earth so that I was like, oh, these are the people like that brought us here. These are the people that are working to make this venue, to make this night a good night. Um, what
Yeah, the
else?
stage hands and the cooks and the door
The
people
doors,
and the
the
promoters
bartenders,
and
every
yeah, yeah, no, that's dope.
oh,
That's dope
I
as
wish
fuck.
we did that here. I wish we had that sense of family.
Yeah, I wish we did that here too. I wish that's really important.
The other dope part about it, about touring in Europe, there's many dope parts about it. Another dope part about touring in Europe is that like you might be playing in a fucking castle. Shit's crazy. Like the architecture out there is
Dope as fuck.
insane. Um, and is that people love music. So even if they don't know who you are, they love the event. They love going out to a show. They love the concert culture. They'll buy a ticket and go see you, and they'll stay after and buy something if they liked it. It's just such a strong sense of supporting the arts. I can't express it enough how different it is from here. And then once they're in the venue, they're having a good time. In France, people are a little bit more stiff, and you can tell that they're really intellectual and heady, and that they're trying to understand every word you're saying. In Germany,
Damn French.
in Germany,
That's amazing.
in Germany, people are
Shouts out to France.
south of France. In Germany, people are way more drunk and fucking partying hard and just like
Woo-hoo! Fucking Germans. I love them. They love to party hard.
they love to party. And I feel like more Germans speak English, and more like it's more ingrained in German culture to speak English growing up. So like they're not trying as hard to understand what you're saying. So they're just kind of letting loose a little bit more. Um, what's not tight is that like we love that we always had weed on our rider. The promoter always brought us weed, but like since we crossed so many international borders, we always had to get rid of all the weed. You could only get hash in a lot of places, not bud. What else?
Yo, that must be like such because that's a performing on hash versus weed must be not the
Yeah,
same.
nah, it's different.
I was like, yo, hash
Different.
makes me not want to move.
Yeah, nah, it's
I
different.
have to learn when not to partake and when to partake.
I can just picture a couple of lazier performances.
But it was so fun. I dream about it all the time. I haven't been out there since 2018, since March of 2018. I forgot I was late to my flight, and I had to ditch my luggage in order to make my flight on time. And I ditched all my luggage for a 3-week tour. And I first arrived in Paris, and I wasn't gonna miss my Paris show. I was playing this festival called Le Femmes se Melon, and it's like a women's music festival, and it was being held at the Moulin Rouge. And I was like, I'm not going to miss this show. I'm going to make it. And I ditched my entire bag at the airport for 3 weeks on tour. So I got there with no fucking clothes. And I put on Twitter that I had no clothes. And my fans brought me clothes from their closets to wear for the rest of my tour. And that hospitality is unmatched. So shouts out to Europeans and their welcoming nature, because man, I can't thank y'all enough. It's been so dope. I can't wait to go back. And I want to go so many more places. Like I know that like the economy isn't strong enough in a lot of places to go. That's why I want to get my bread up too, is because I want to bring music to other places, even when it's not accessible, where it's not as accessible, to get bigger artists. I don't give a fuck. If I have the money, I'll fund it. I just want to play music, let's do it. So yeah, shouts out to Europe and anywhere else that I'm able to touch.
Yeah, that was just another one of those answers where it's like, yeah, it makes sense that people want to do things to help you, because like, what, you just like shout out the people who make food for us. I want to hang out with the crew. It's fun. All the great fans out there. Everyone's, and I'm like, yo, she's like,
shouts to Southeast Asia and South America, where she's gonna end up touring. Where she's gonna end up touring. How about that? Like,
I can't wait to go.
Speak it into existence. You know what I mean? You gotta speak these things into existence.
100%.
That's it.
Thoughts become things, baby. Will I be able to read the Twitch commentary later? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's basically it's all popping up on the video I have here on my side. But yeah, Ismail is asking, in which other countries do you want to perform?
Definitely want to hit up Indonesia. Definitely want to hit up Bali. I don't want to forget anybody here at all. Everywhere. Oh man.
Want to perform in Russia? You want to perform in China? You want to perform in Japan? You want to perform in Brazil? What? Brazil is lit. Brazil is lit. What?
I know.
Of course, you want to perform in Brazil.
Hella fans in Nigeria. I have hella fans in South Africa. They hit me on Twitter saying hot damn on the radio out there. Like, I want to get to Africa. I want to get to
Africa.
South
Be showing
America.
Wild love.
Yeah, I want to go to fucking Argentina, Brazil, Colombia. Like, I want to go to the Ivory Coast, and I want to be everywhere. I just want to connect. Yeah.
So what happens after 2018 when you come back?
What happens after 2018 when I come
back? Because between like, whoa, hold on, like we can't jump from like we still haven't even gotten to like how we got to Blimes and Gab. Like we got to go through all those other like in between everything, right? Like,
okay, so how about fill in the other significant details that I missed or we haven't yet discussed? That would be like,
I mean, so just like the seeds planted, the collabos accepted. I also collaborated with Gifted Gab from Seattle, fucking mayor of Seattle. We had been friends online for a while. We don't know who added who, but I definitely heard of her through Gavlin because she has a song with Gavlin and DJ Hoppa. And we had been friends online for a while, and I was traveling through Seattle filming a documentary, and we linked up. The night we linked up is a crazy ass story. It's on other interviews. It's way too long of a story to get into right now. We ended up hanging out all day. She's the mayor of Seattle. I'm going to give you the cliff notes. She's the mayor of Seattle. Everybody knows who she is. By the end of the night, there was a crazy street brawl outside of the club we were hanging out with. She and I bounced after the street brawl of like 40 dudes fighting. And we ended up getting into a scrap with somebody on the street and fighting right next to each other. I ended up getting into a scrap with somebody, and Gab jumped in. This new fucking person that she just met that day, she jumps in to defend me because the girl grabbed me by my bun and kneed me in the eye. And Gab was like, nah. That's a cheap shot. We ain't doing that around here. Gab jumps in, and we end up scrapping with this girl and dapping each other up, and we were blood sisters from then on, like we were fam from then on.
Bleed together, you are blood.
Together.
The
reason I mentioned that she's the mayor of Seattle is because this girl's boyfriend was there, and he got sick of seeing his girl lose this fight. We didn't jump her, like she was already active foul. We didn't jump her or anything. We just Gab jumped in, and then it was a fair fight. However, the boyfriend got sick of seeing it and goes to throw a punch at Gab, and a crowd had formed around us. It's 2 a.m., so everybody was out of the clubs. A crowd had formed around us, and as the boyfriend goes to throw a punch at Gab, somebody from the crowd goes, "Not Gabby!" Dink, knocks him out.
Not Gabby.
Not
That's
Gabby.
how you know she's the mayor of Seattle.
Mayor of Seattle. We
Facts.
got each other up. I cleaned up my shiner. We went to go get tacos. And we didn't even make any music yet, but a few trips through later, we made a song in the studio. We had 2 hours in the studio. We freestyled essentially the whole thing back and forth. I said, look, we don't have that much time in the studio. This beat is fire. Why don't you just write 4 and I'll write 4? You write 4 and I'll write 4. You write 4 and I'll write 4. And we're back and forth at like old school boom bap shit. So we did.
Styles and Kiss over here.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. So we did. And Come Correct was born that night, and we had no idea what we had on our hands. We sat on it for a long time, sat on it for probably a year, and just showed our friends. And we dropped it in October of 2017. We shot a video for it. Another totally organic occurrence. I was rolling through Seattle. I was like, you want to shoot a video today or tomorrow? And she was like, yeah. Hit up a videographer. He was like, I got 4 hours. Let's do it. We shot the shit hella quick. DJ Cabin, the club, DJ Cabin asked which club was it, and it was 95 Slide in Seattle. And it was on Capitol Hill. It's not open anymore. But yeah. Shouts out to OG Seattle. Yeah, so we shot a video for Come Correct. No idea what was on our hands. We shot a video. Neither of us had like a big label support or a deal or anything. I think Gab probably uploaded it to TuneCore, and we dropped it on a Friday night at 8 p.m., which is marketing suicide to drop a video on a Friday night at 8 p.m. And when I woke up in the morning, my Twitter was broken. I couldn't even access my Twitter because it had blown up so big. We had 3 million views on Facebook by the morning, because somebody had grabbed it off YouTube and shared it on Facebook, and it just went insane. I think that video has probably across all the platforms somewhere in the 30 mil area. On YouTube, it's on YouTube where the money.
Yeah, that one definitely went. I remember it going viral on Facebook. I think through, I forgot which one of the like hip hop platforms. Like,
I gotta shout them out because shouts to them, because that was the vehicle for this video to go viral. It was Born Famous, and they put the meme bars on top of it, like these girls are doing hip hop, and they put flame emojis. And shouts out to Gab, man. That we didn't know we were a group. The internet said you guys are now a group. We started, fucking Bahamadia reached out immediately.
Ghost and Ray type shit. Know what I mean?
De La Soul.
Informal duo.
Yes,
De La Soul reached out too.
De La Soul reached out. Everyone that people were comparing us to reached out, and like that just meant the world. Man, it was insane. My brain is failing me right now to go down the list of the absolute legends that reached out and said this shit is dope, and thanks to you guys for keeping hip hop alive. And what I would tell you is I was relieved when that shit went viral, because I was like, wait, you mean people still fuck with bars? You mean people still like the shit we grew up on? Thank God. We started getting booking offers, and everything just blew up from there. Neither of us had managers. We were self-managed. I reached out to a friend who was managing Anderson .Paak at the time, and I was like, I don't know what to do with all of this. And she was like, let me ask my boss. And he was like, the internet wants them to be a duo. I'll manage them if they're a duo. And we were a duo. And we started being managed at that point by Zion. And we went out to New York and played a show and met with a few different agents. And we met with somebody at UTA, Jeremy. And he was like, he's, Action Bronson's agent and G-Eazy's agent, and used to be Lauryn Hill's agent. And he was like, yep, I will represent you guys. And everything went crazy from there. So as soon as I got back from Europe in 2018, that was 1 month, 2 months after Come Correct blew up. As soon as I got back from Europe, we had a summer full of festival plays, and we played festivals all over the United States as Blimes and Gab. So for the last 2 years, it has been Blimes and Gab, the duo, and it's finally time for us to go back to, like, you're the woman type vibes, where we do our solos and then come back
Mm-hmm.
to the group after we get our solos off. So yeah, man, that's the full breakdown.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
Gab will be here in a couple weeks.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
amazing,
Gab will
amazing.
be here in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's super cool.
I'm about to see her tonight. I can't wait. Since we've been on the solo tip, we were spending every single day together when we were going hard with Blimes and Gab. And
Yeah.
since we've been on the solo tip, we just been, separated,
No,
focusing.
it's important. It's important to, like, it's like any relationship, right? Like, you gotta keep yourself strong individually so that you're strong for the duo, you know? And sometimes that means going off and doing your separate thing, you know?
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean, like, that there's anybody who's in a functioning group knows that, like, in order for the group to function, everybody's got to go to their own corners for a little bit too.
Absolutely. It's just like you said, just like a relationship, just like a marriage. We have to have our own individual lives in order to feel secure and whole coming back to the partnership. So that's the part of the cycle that we're in right now, and I'm grateful for it.
That's still serious. So basically, you put out magic into the world, which got you to Method Man, and then from Method Man, that was already a viral moment, like millions of views on YouTube. Then that's bigger than millions of YouTubes now. Like it's a different like scope. And then as time went on, it was just opportunity after opportunity, just because you just kept consistently being dope and yourself and authentic and all those things. And then you found out the internet still fucks with that shit. I mean, that's basically a really cool place to be. How did COVID adapt you? Like, I guess the show's end, and what
Yeah.
do you do to adapt during this process?
Um, I took a lot of time off of music making during COVID, which I would have done differently again. I would have done differently if I had the opportunity again. I would have made a lot more music in the last year so that I was ready, to drop something when this all came to a close. But Gab and I had an album made that we were supposed to drop in March. And when the pandemic, hit, we were like, oh shit, we got to hold on to this. There's nothing going on except this in the world. This is the most important thing. We can't release this project. That's the labor and growth of the last 15 years of each of our careers. So we held on to it. But um, what what held us over during the pandemic was, fortunately, we had landed a lot of syncs. It was all timing. It's all timing. Like we were on Insecure. Our song Feeling It was on Insecure back in May of last year, which is like right in the middle of the
Yeah.
pandemic. So that was a paycheck that came through and saved the day. And if you're listening at home and you're an artist, like, sync is where the money's at. Like, it's not in streams, it's in
Yeah.
licensing your music for TV, video games, commercials, trailers, all that shit. You want to license your shit if you can. So thank God, I was in a Pretty Little Thing ad, which is essentially like the UK's Fashion Nova. And that came through during the pandemic for me. And just, what else came out? Oh, RZA's film. Um, um, Cutthroat City. Hot Damn was in that, which came out on Netflix. So thank God for sync and licensing, and thank God for, like, just the series of events that led me to have syncs and licensing in place during the pandemic, because that saved my ass. But we dropped an album called Talk About It. If you're listening at home, Blimes and Gab, Talk About It is the one that Holden was talking about before. And that, it was a hard time to release it because we couldn't tour. Um, you know, I don't know if we'll get to tour that album, but I know if either one of us tours, we'll definitely be playing some of those tracks. But adapting. What did I do? I was in a relationship over the pandemic. My partner had a baby, so I was at home playing dad. So we had a 4-month-old on our hands. He was 4 months in March, and I was at home with her and him. So to me, if anybody's a parent, you know that like time just flies by when you have a kid on your hands. So I looked up and I was like, what do you mean it's a pandemic? Like, what do you mean nobody's going out? Because I was just on big at home taking care of the baby mode. And yeah. What else? Like, because our album came out, we did a lot of press and stuff, and it was really hard to do. We were supposed to go on Sway. Sway was like, come to my show when the album comes out. And, we were supposed to do all this big, exciting, dreamy shit that you dream of doing as a hip hop artist growing up, watching what the other artists do that we didn't get to do because it was all on Zoom or it wasn't figured out by the time our album came out. So, it's easy for me to get stuck in the disappointment of that. But then at the same time, I have to remind myself of the evidence that everything's worked out for a reason. Everything's worked out the way that it's supposed to. And there's got to be some other, chance for that to happen one day. I hope. Like, that's how I don't get
It
down.
will.
That's
It
how I
will.
don't.
It will.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are gonna
happen.
do your solo things right now, and you're gonna
Like, is your solo album
satisfy your individual bases, and then you're gonna get back together. When you guys get back together, you're gonna get to do all those things that you didn't get to be able to do all the way.
And on top of that, your solo project was also great. Like, there's the one from 2018 that I can't remember the name of now, but
Castles. Thank you.
Castles, yeah, I bought
I
that.
was listening to that too, and I'm like, honestly, I said to Flacko earlier today is, if my girlfriend knew you existed back in the day, maybe Iggy Azalea wouldn't be so much her favorite rapper right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment. And I love that you brought it back all the way back to your girlfriend and washing the dishes. I think, judging on her taste in music, she might like a song called Snakeskin Boots. So play her that one.
We played Snakeskin Boots.
Yeah, we played it earlier because I basically ran through your music videos. I was like, she just has enough music videos out. This is awesome. Nobody has enough music videos to run like over an hour stream, just constant boom, and then the recommend, and then I didn't even have to try hard. And then between your solo stuff, which is like what, I didn't even play the unlisted one that Flacco said. This is just all the public stuff, right? Just over like there was, and then between you and Gabs and all your solos and all the features, the sheer volume of videos you have is like pretty cool to like go through and watch your energy.
It's work.
Even like
it's a discography, videography, actually.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that all came about because when I moved to LA originally, I needed to make a paycheck and I worked in the movie industry. And working in the movie industry, I met so many aspiring directors and cinematographers and just networked my ass off, and people were generous with their time and energy and wanted to make cool shit. And so like, it's just just blessed to have a personality that, people were drawn to and treat people nice and respectfully that they wanted to give their time and energy. So
is that where you linked up with the homies that you linked up with that you do like the stuff with the cup with and shit like that?
Oh, that's a Seattle group. Cut with fear pong and shit like that.
Fear pong and
and
that stuff was super entertaining.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That is my before you guys were on the channel, I already was
You were a fan?
subscribed to the channel.
Yeah.
So when you guys video comes out, I'm like,
Yeah.
the homies got to be on the lit ass channel that I already, because there's certain YouTube channels that I feel very passionately about that I'm just like, yo, they make great content that I enjoy watching. And
that's
like
another mayor of Seattle. That's Gab being the mayor of Seattle.
People guess stuff and learning about like the groceries thing, like what you know, senior citizens spend their grocery money on, or like how these people spend that much grocery money. Shit like that to me is super interesting. Right. Very interesting. Like about a month ago, I asked my bodega guy a question that like, I'm like, yo, I never asked this question living in New York City all my life, which was like, what do you sell the most in the bodega? Like first off, what kind of sandwich do you sell the most?
What was the answer?
Right? In my bodega was honey glazed turkey and American cheese, which I'm like, I'm disappointed in the American cheese pick. I'm just like, it should have been like cheddar.
Cheese.
Like I get cheddar when I get my like honey glaze, but like,
come on.
But whatever. I'm also not gonna judge like the neighborhood for their taste, whatever, you know. But then I also like asked, what do you sell the most of, period? And it was like backwards. And I'm like, not surprised, not surprised, not surprised at all, sir. Not surprised at all. But like that's like really interesting to me. Like now, like I want to know. I want to know. I feel like it helps inform me in when I meet people from different backgrounds and different areas and different lifestyles, period. You know, like I'm just more informed, like, period.
I love Cut. Go watch Cut videos.
I know a couple of them because you were there, and so I watched them even before like I even think I knew I was going to talk to you. I think Flacko was just bragging that his homies were on it, and he sent it to me like on some real shit.
Like that's the shit that I brag about. Look, she's on the cart.
No, but like because like I had seen the ASMR Valentine's Day video because somebody shared a thing. I don't know if it was like intentional and I'd commented on it, or Flacco probably shared it or whatever, however it happened. I see his finger went up. I'm like, I'm telling this wrong.
It also doesn't matter. I'm also just like, what am I about to take credit for a fucking post? Like, how fuck is that shit?
Flacco's the plug on sharing your shit. It's fine. Either way, and then it was just great. And then that came up later, and I'm like, yo, y'all have energy together, and it's just fun, and it was hilarious, and I really enjoyed it. And then your music's super tight.
I likened it to earlier when we were listening. I likened it to like you guys are like Styles and Jada, yo. Damn, like that ass. Like you guys you really have like. There's the thing. Some duos like are not vocal twins, right? Like they
my
don't
girlfriend
sound,
watches them.
Very similar, you know, like they like Meth and Red is a good example, right? Like Holden had said that earlier. Like Meth and Red don't sound alike, you know, much at all. You and Gab, like there's something. I don't think that it's necessarily your flows. I think that it's that like your voices have a similarity. The way Styles and Jada's voices have a similarity. Like when I first heard the Locks back in the days, like on Yo See, like hearing them for the first time, I couldn't tell Styles and Jada apart like that. Like that wasn't a thing. It wasn't like, oh, I hear them for the first time ever. I could just tell these two apart. Nah, they actually sounded wildly similar. And I was like, yo, these two people, like, is that two different people? Is it the same person? You know? And I think that you and Gab have that. And that's like dope to have, like in a duo. Like me and Jess don't have that. Me and Jess don't sound alike. Nobody will confuse us for each other at any point, you know? Like maybe like in the idea, right? Like, oh, two Puerto Ricans, where's that other Puerto Rican? You know, like, like where's your Puerto Rican brother? You know, like, but
and
like,
I appreciate that. And I think that's something that like really drew people to us is they're like, how do these two match up? How do they become friends? What's the story behind this? And for us, it was so it was so organic that we never thought that would be a question that people have, but to the general population, it was. And also Gab is texting me right now and she says, tell Dutch I said, hey.
Hey.
I was like, we're talking about you right now.
Yeah, tell her later that I said I love her and I'll see her in like couple
I
Wednesdays.
can tell her about the show. I fucking love this show that you guys are doing. Just to finalize that point real quick about us being different and us having similar qualities in our vocal tones, that's not something that I had realized, because when you have your voice sounds different than everybody else's voice. And she heard her voice different than my voice, and I heard my voice different than her voice, right? In my own head, the way I perceive it. But the world doesn't necessarily. And a funny note to add about that is, like, when Come Correct came out and people weren't watching the video and seeing who's spitting what, they were like, hold up, why is this white girl saying the N-word? And like, me and Gab were like, what? How is that even a question? Like, our voices are different. Like, can't you distinguish who is who on the track and shit like that? And we were kind of dying about it. Like, we just thought that shit was hella funny. Like, we sound that alike. Like, you can't tell the distinguish.
Yeah. And you know what?
Voice,
I'm your brother, and I know you guys, right? But like earlier when we were on, I'm hearing it without my AirPods on. And so the iPad doesn't have necessarily like the greatest speakers. I don't have it connected to my speaker system, right? Because then I feel like that'll mess up my audio with the mic and whatnot. So I'm hearing it through Holden playing it, and I can barely hear who's on the track, but I hear somebody saying nigga, and I'm like, oh yeah, so it's gotta be Gab. Gab right. Is on the track now. Like, that's right. How I'm keeping track, right? Like, I'm like, oh, now I know that Gab's on the track because I hear nigga. So I know that it ain't Blimey because I know Blimey, and I know how you get down, sis. You know what I mean? Like, I know that would never come out your mouth. So like, I know because I know you, right? But like, look, listen, like, even me knowing you, hearing the audio not crisp and clear, I couldn't really hear again, that's why I'm saying like that there is a similarity in your voices, right? Because I couldn't really hear, but I heard that somebody was saying nigga, and that's how I was able to distinguish.
And that's what Gab says every time. DJ Cabin's in the chat right now saying, well, that's how you make the distinction. And that's what Gab says. In every interview, Gab's like, if you hear it, then it's me. That's it. That's the distinction right there. You said it. You said it.
Big facts. Like, I never would have even thought that would have been a question. That's a weird question anyway. That's how people can be. I don't know. I feel like you guys just like, it's the chemistry, right? Like, it's when people sound like they're really good friends. You can hear it. Like, you can just hear that shit. And y'all sound like you're BFFs.
Yeah, we are, you know, like that came organically. We fought, we hung out, we walked the city streets together. We seen some wild shit. We wrote a TV show about it. You know, we're still working. We're still working it. We're still pitching it. And there was a writer's strike for a long time, so we couldn't move with an agency to pitch it. But things are back in swing, and we're getting the conversations going again. We have a pilot. We have a first season outlined. We have a second season. We have a pilot written. We have the first season outlined. We have the second season outlined. So hopefully the Blimes and Gab story will come to life on screen one of these days.
So dope.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much opportunity, and there's a lot of shows that are in the similar vein, which isn't necessarily a bad thing to think of, like, oh wow, they have similar shows like this. Because usually when one show ends and it was so good that people loved it, all the studios buy up shows that are similar to try and get the next one. So, you know, you have your Issa Rae, shouts out to Issa Rae, doing amazing things with her production company and her network and the shows that she has coming out. I think she has one that's like, it's, you know, a similar basis of like two best friend rappers. And you know, like, I don't see that necessarily as competition. I just see that as further paving the way for our story to be told and more stories like ours to be told. So
yeah,
I'm
really not even gonna lie. If they made 100 fucking docu-series, not dramatical fiction or non-fictions, whatever, like that historical drama style, but rap people's, fuck, I'd watch that all day. I would never get bored of that. Like I watch historical dramas, which are basically the same plot in like a different setting over and over. I can't get enough of them. I'm like a junkie for a historical drama.
Well, listen, hold on. I know that you are on a time limit and you're gonna have to be getting going soon, right? So do you want to tell us like what it is that you might have planned, or and give some like links where people can check you out at and stuff like that?
Of course, I got you. first of all, I fucking love this show. I love being on it. I'll tune in when I can, and I'll definitely be here for Gab's episode too. That'll be super dope. Thank you guys for having this platform. Holden, this is really sick, and Flacco, like I love you. Like I always got you forever. So, um, shouts out to End of the Week fam. I remember performing there.
Yes.
Like so sick. Um, to watch the history carry over into this new digital age is so sick. But yeah, I'm Blimes. You can find my last album, Castles, on Spotify or anywhere you listen to music. Like Holden said, there's hella music videos, and those are more fun to watch. So go on YouTube and look up Blimes. I do have 4 projects out. So there's the Blimes and Gab. All of our socials for Blimes and Gab, all our social media is Blimes and Gab, BLIMESANDGAB. That's the social media for all Blimes and Gab stuff, SoundCloud, everything. And then for Blimes, it's just BLIMES. But on socials, on Blimes Brixton. So BLIMESBRIXTON. There's an album from me on Spotify called Castles. There's a Blimes and Gab album called Talk About It. And then I gave Flacco and Holden the super deep dive old intel, and I have my first mixtape called MVP Season up on Dat Piff, which
It's awesome.
I'll hopefully carry over to Spotify one of these days when the timing is right, when I can get a good bag for my discography. And
we
then
see it's happening right now, though. You know, like
you.
Nikki and Wiz are both dropping old mixtapes that were Dat Piff only and not on Spotify stuff on iTunes and Spotify. So it's the move now. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a whole, it's a whole another project full of streams for a distributor to, get to manage. So, there is leverage in that. So I'm holding out on posting it myself because, yeah, I have a discography. So there's Dat Piff is MVP Season by Blimey. And then on YouTube, my Manifesto album, MNFSTO by Blimey, the whole album's up there. And I'm working on a solo album right now. So you'll get a solo album from Blimes and you'll get a solo album from Gab probably this year. And we have three in the tank for the next album for Blimes and Gab. So there's always more music. Keep your eye peeled for the TV show, and put some good thoughts towards that getting purchased so that we can keep making this music that's expensive to make.
It is happening. We're already talking to you from the future, and it happened.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I got a music video for Neon Dreams coming in the next month. So, yep, that's it.
Yo, thank you so much for coming through, for reals. Like, it was a pleasure to have you. I don't know. It was like your energy is just so encouraging. Like, you just make people want to get up and try harder.
Thank you.
Don't be a silly Billy and whiner and shit. No, just get out there because you never know what's right around the corner. It could be Method Man. In your case, it was Method Man. That's like crazy cool to hear,
Thank you.
Hold on. Thanks to End of the Week. Everybody make sure to follow
Shout
them.
out to the End of the Week fam.
They're like /EOWTV on everything. On eodub.com, or I don't remember the website name, but anyway, /EOWTV on everything. Thank you all for watching. For real, it was like super cool to have you here because the fact that it's like live with people just makes it more like a show, like a performance show. So it makes it just more of a cooler energy for everyone.
Shout out to everybody watching.
I just want to say on my end, I just want to say, like, I can't ever tell you I love you enough. You already know what it is. You know
Same.
how much I love you.
Same.
And my love is eternal and it's always here. And hopefully we see each other soon. It's been too long. Like, it's been like over 2 years now, I think, that we haven't seen each other. That's way too long.
Way too
long. That's a little bit on my fault. I've been supposed to get out to Cali, so there's a little bit mostly my fault. So
hit me up. Let me know when you're coming. And Holden, I love Montreal. I'd love to come back. So I'll hit you when I'm in town.
You should definitely. Montreal's about to make some waves.
Hell yeah. Like, Dutch, everything you said. I don't want to make people too nauseated at home, but I love you so much. And Holden, what an amazing show you guys have. DJ Cabin, good to see your face. Salute, salute. And shouts out everybody here in the chat. If you're at home listening, watching, thanks for tuning in. Yeah,
Big
peace and
thanks.
love.
Yo, thanks for real, everyone. All that good stuff's been said. So I guess it's a good time to wrap up on all that. So yo, live long and prosper, everyone. And yeah, very few people actually do it. You're fucking incredible, Blimes. Fucking incredible. That's all I gotta say about that. That's amazing. That made me like extra happy.
Your energy is fucking too, man. Thank you. I love this show. I'm watching. All right.
All right,
Peace,
I'm
guys.
offline.
I love you, sis.
But
Be
we ended
safe.
the stream.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
did.
offline.
Have a safe move. The rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm down to the wire. Like literally, look behind me. It's all just boxes back there. My girl helped me clear off my fridge today, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta put some shit back on my fridge. Like, there's nothing here. I had to throw some shit back in the bookshelf real quick.
Make it look like a home and shit. Like, no, I swear I'm not squatting.
Yeah, I'm
not here squatting.
You feel me? I'm about to go celebrate my homie Dodger's birthday, and if you've never heard of the Last Artful Dodger, check out her music. She's so fucking incredible. Like her music is so good. Like, I know she's about to blow. She's one of those people that you're just like, holy shit, I cannot believe you're not like huge, but I'm sure she will be.
She popped up as soon as I got to. Okay, I think I've been seeing you sharing her on your Instagram. No.
Incredible. No. Will you guys share with me like some of the like deliverables so that I can promote on social media, or even just like say what a good time?
You're fucking wonderful. Yeah, all that shit. Okay, so Saturday on the Perspectives YouTube shit that we got, I'm gonna have like the full thing, and then basically every day after, which again we can still link you. You're on Twitter, right? Because I'm gonna just set it up where I can just tweet you that shit and then it'll notify you.
I haven't been on in a month, and I need to get back logged in. But yeah, I'll be back on. I'll get back on.
Ways to make sure we'll get it
email you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. And anyway, just to say there'll be like one clip a day throughout the week.
Cool, perfect. I love clips. I love sharing that, and I need shit to share on my social media. I've been so quiet, so send it my way.
Got you.
Absolutely. That's so cool to hear. It's really encouraging to hear that for real.
Yeah.
This was so fun. All right, I do gotta run because I gotta
go
and get weed for the birthday girl. But thank you guys.
I love you.
Peace and blessings.
Thank you so much.
Peace, sis.
Absolutely.
I think it is Nick's time in here. I hope we didn't hold you up. Did Zoom leave already? Pat, you guys, sorry. Like you
I think they've all been dipping into a breakout room.
Yeah, dipping into
well, yeah, no, it's there's another meeting that was supposed to occur that got switched up last minute.
Okay.
We definitely wanted to come in and get in a breakout to not disturb. Even though you guys just ended, we're still going to jump into breakout to make it simpler because that was the impression. Thank you, Dutch. Thank you, Holden. Great show.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Yeah.
What up, Cabin? What up, Zoo? What up, Kendra? What up, Ox? I saw you come in earlier. My fault. I be trying to stay focused on task at hand.
I think they're in the meeting.
Once I start reading comments, I start getting the reading comments face, which is
yeah, that was fun. I like Cabin's energy. Cabin's one of those guys you like having there when you see his face and he's reacting to shit and he nods and stuff. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Blimey, I happen to know. I think she been on a railroad or something, right? She been on a radio.
Might have been. I think so. You know, Blimey definitely used to make the most out of her trips, and I used to definitely link her with. And I think that she had her own relationship with Jay Smooth too.
She
so like
definitely knows Jay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think she was on the railroad more than once, maybe.
Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. Absolutely not. Yeah.
No, I definitely know her.
She definitely be on her, like, you know, keeping up with the media is like, yo, if I'm going out of town, I'm gonna be in town, I might as well, like, you know, do to, you know, stop by X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's different. Like I happen to know her, and I know Seattle too. That's how that worked out.
Her partner will be on. Oh shit! Did I not? I'm sorry, Danny. I'm sorry, sis. Did I not look at? We're still fucking live, aren't we? Shit. Sorry, sis. My God, man, I'm the worst.
I thought
like,
you were.
You know what?
You
like,
sure you just not recording, or well, you
I'm
were
looking at myself on the camera
I thought
on
you
my
stopped
iPad.
live.